Hello and big welcome to all our listeners. Wishing you a happy new year as we step into 2026.
Yay!
Happy New Year! So welcome to the second episode of the Study in Estonia podcast. We are absolutely excited to have you with us today. And today, together with me is Pooja, who is also a Study in Estonia student ambassador. And Pooja, why don't you introduce quickly yourself and our guest?
Emily, thanks a lot. I think viewers might know me right now that I'm Pooja. And welcome again, guys. But today is quite interesting as we stepped into 2026. We are genuinely excited to talk with Michael Keerdo-Dawson, a filmmaker, researcher, and graduate from Baltic Film Media and Art School at Tallinn University. With the international background, deep experience in Estonia higher education, Michael offers sharp first-hand insight into what it really means to study, teach, and build an academic life in Estonia. In this episode, we'll dive deep into the journey, the realities of the Estonian education system, and why Estonia continues to stand out for international students. Trust me, today's episode is going to be so much fun because we'll have a better understanding about the industries, film industry, and what it really means to study and teach in Estonia. So, welcome to the podcast, Michael.
Hello.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So, to get started, Michael, can you briefly tell us about yourself and what originally brought you to Estonia and what made you stay?
Okay, I'm from the UK originally. I have a background in the British film and television industry, worked there for almost a decade. And my ex-wife is Estonian. We moved to Estonia in 2012. Have since divorced, so come for the marriage, stay for the divorce. That's the old joke. And we've been working and living here for now 12 years, I guess.
Wow, that's long.
Long time.
Yes.
And I started out as a change of career, actually. I wanted to teach English, and I did teach English for a while because I'd kind of had enough of film and television. And then not long after I moved here, somehow I managed to get a job at the Baltic Film and Media School. They discovered I have this background and experience, and I also had experience as a teacher, of course, from my English teaching experience. So the two streams of my life kind of converged, and I ended up becoming a lecturer at the Baltic Film and Media School.
Wow, that's great. So you continued with your master's studies and then you came down with the PhD and you're also teaching. So how has been this different phase of life treated you in Estonia?
Very well. So, if I start with the master's, my intention actually when I finished my bachelor's degree in the UK maybe in 2003. And at the time I'd wanted to continue studying a master's degree in the UK. However, in the UK, this is something that I've often reported anecdotally, but I had a quick check this morning and I found it to be true statistically on a cursory Google search. So, you may have to check the details for this. But my understanding was that doing a master's in Estonia is much, much more common than it is in the UK.
Okay.
And the reason I wasn't able to do a master's in the UK when I was living there is because the costs are prohibitively high. The incentive structure is low in terms of why you would want to do a master's. And because of these two factors, only one person who I studied at bachelor's level went on to do masters immediately after. So that was my anecdote. And then when I met Estonians, I started to find out that a lot of them have master's degrees, and it's all if you do a bachelor's degree, of course you do a master's degree afterwards. It's this 3+2, and this surprised me a lot. And so I looked it up, and the statistics was roughly about 4.8% of British people have a master's degree versus something like 20% of Estonians.
Wow.
So it's much.
Thank you for bringing the numbers. We have not.
Needs fact checking.
That
That was my.
Okay, rough numbers.
Google rough numbers. And so when I came to Estonia, I didn't have a master's degree, but that was not uncommon in the UK context at all. And then I found that, of course, if I wanted a career in academia, then I needed to get a master's degree. So I found a course, Literature, Visual Culture and Film Studies, which was being done by the Institute of Humanities in Tallinn University, and applied for that. Did that in 2 years, and then switched immediately. Actually, I was defending my master's thesis as I was writing the application for the PhD, and I went into the PhD at BFM and did that. It took almost 5 years.
Oh, that's great. 5 years is not so bad. It's so good. Congratulations.
Not so bad. But they say on the first PhD meeting, they introduce you to it and they say, you have 4 years, but no one does it in 4 years. And it's like almost, why is it 4 years then if it's impossible to do in 4 years? But yeah.
But yeah, congratulations. And for you to come to Estonia to start with your master's degree and stay to do your PhD, Estonia must be doing something right. What can you say about that transition, the academia, and the education system here? Well,
yeah, sorry, that's the point I kind of skipped on my last answer, because the cost is one factor, right? So the master's degree, when I did it at least anyway, was much more affordable than it was in the UK. And I had another colleague at the time from the UK who was also doing his master's degree. He was a bit younger than me, and he'd pretty much come straight from his bachelor's, but I asked him why he'd come to Estonia, and he said, because I can do a master's degree, you can afford it, because there's no loan, or there's no, you have to basically be from a rich family or a well-off family in order to do a master's in the UK. Well, that's my experience of it, at least in the early 2000s. And so that was very helpful, and the quality was also very high. I mean, the Institute of Humanities, I think it's one of the top 500 in the world institutes for humanities. So it was definitely worth the money. And then, side note to that, my student loan from my bachelor's degree, which I finished in 2003, I'm still paying it.
Wow.
I'm still paying it. The master's degree I'd paid for by the time I'd finished. It was already done.
Yes. Okay.
So just as a little indicator of the difference in the costs.
Wow. So I think value for education is quite good over here in Estonia, and also pocket friendly for all the students out over here. Very rightly said. But I have this one interesting question. So you are here in Estonia from past 12 years. So you have seen Estonia evolve for students.
Yes.
So how has the experience been for students from 12 years? Has it increased? The education system is more progressive towards international student. How is the comparison?
Again, anecdotally and just from my own observations over the years, I know that as a teacher at BFM, there seem to be currents of students coming from different places. It tends to change depending on the year or the situation in the world. Of course, a few years ago, we had a huge number of Ukrainian students coming. There were a lot of incentives for that as well. And earlier in my career, we had more Latvians and Lithuanians, but I know that Lithuania, for example, has LMTA, the Lithuanian Music and Theatre Academy, if memory serves, and Latvia also has now their own film school. Yeah. So they've started to establish their own places in these countries, whereas previously BFM was the only shop in the Baltics for this. So things like that have changed. So as other countries in our neighborhood have developed, the market has shrunk, but however, the international market has grown. A really interesting example, and again, I don't have the exact numbers, but from my own experience in the PhD program at BFM, when I started, I was the only non-Estonian doing it, but it was the second year. It was the second intake of students for that program. And then over the course of the 5 years that I've done it, we now have students who are still working on their PhDs from Brazil, Colombia, India, and I know I'm missing one, Catalonia.
Wow.
I'm sure there are others as well. So the range of countries that students have come from for the PhD has grown.
Yeah, it's grown. That's great.
Recently, Russian and Ukrainian as well also joined in this year's cohort. So it's expanding, it's becoming more international.
And for these classes that you're teaching with a lot of these international students, do you at least have insights on why these students are coming here for this specific studies?
Let me think. No, I haven't talked to them about why specifically.
Okay.
No, I don't usually talk to them, but we do. We get a steady stream of Finns coming still. We had more Russians. Of course, it's now more difficult for Russians to study here, and we had. Trying to think who else in the nearby. Yeah, the Georgians particularly. Over the years, several Georgian students. I'm not sure. Yeah. And usually I think it's for combination of stability, reputation of Estonia being a peaceful country, and when they speak about it, they've usually, if they're on it, when I've done admissions interviews for international students, and we ask them, but you know about the weather, and they're like, yeah, I know all about the weather. I heard it all already. Yeah. And they've done the research, and sometimes they've even already moved here, or they've spent some time here, and that tends to be one of the deciding factors as well. And it was also for me. It's not that I moved here blindly. I've been coming here since 2007, and understood that I loved this country, and of course I'll move here.
I think anyone who has shifted to Estonia loves Estonia to core, regardless of what is the weather condition, regardless of...
You have to love the cold.
Yes, you have to love the cold. You have to
embrace it.
Yes, you have to embrace it.
Very often Estonians will ask you, it's just like, why are you here? The weather.
Yes. That's so common question, why are you here? And I'm like, it's beautiful. Come on, it's...
I look better with more clothes on. That's it.
That's one way to survive it. Yeah.
But I have this one question for you. Like, you have studied for film education. So how is the film education developed in Estonia for over the period for the students who are looking forward to come down and study films in Estonia?
Okay. So to study in film education in BFM, we have several English language curricula. We have AV Media, which is one of the courses that I teach, and that is focused on primarily film, music video, TV show production. It kind of gives you all of those things in a more holistic way. And that's a course which I've been teaching for many years, for 10 years now. And it's been very successful. Our graduates have had their films selected in Perth, and it's usually a very nice launch pad to go on and study a master's degree. Several of my students have gone to the UK and indeed to Edinburgh to do screenwriting masters, and others have gone to... forget the name, but another university in the UK to study editing. So as a springboard to further education. And then others still have gone on to successful careers in the media in Estonia, the local students particularly. So that's an English language curriculum. Another English language curriculum is cross media, which I also teach in. And that's more geared towards marketing, and you pulling in different forms of media, like podcasts, for example, into creating connections between different media, demonstrating or being part of a whole project. So podcasts and newsletters and social media and this kind of thing. This has also been running for many years, and we very often hear of great successes of our students have gone on to study and further their careers either abroad or here. And one that you mentioned is a documentary master's program that we have in the university as well, which is also in English language, and that's being still, I believe, run by Riho Vastrik, who's our now director of BFM.
Amazing. And earlier you shared your students' backgrounds geographically, but what about their fields? Have they always been in the creative industry, or do you see some career shifters who are suddenly into the film industry?
Well, mostly I teach undergraduates, so they don't really have the shift yet. So they're kind of finding their direction usually with their bachelor's very often. Some of them don't. Some of them already have like a pretty good idea. I want to be a director and I'm going to go.
Oh, okay.
Usually the directors, but others are kind of trying to find their way and what's the thing that they're find the passion or find the interesting thing that they're good at in the film industry or media in general that they can expand on and build on.
And what about your peers back when you had your master's degree and PhD? Were you all like in the same vein of background, or did you find...
very, very different. So the master's program, I was doing the master's program in order to get a full-time position at BFM. That was my goal. I need a master's degree to get that job. Others were doing master's degrees for much more diverse reasons, and I know at least one of my colleagues. She went on to do her PhD in Tallinn University and has successfully defended and has her own project now. And another colleague is doing her PhD in the Institute of Humanities at Tallinn University. So I think there's at least several of us have gone on to further study, and other people have gone into the world of work. But I haven't kept in touch with all of them.
It makes sense.
Yeah, life moves on. So, but as you mentioned, that maximum people have gone further for studies, and I want to understand that reason from you also. How was your experience for doing PhD?
My experience was amazing. I have to say it was, it wasn't easy. And of course, everyone says about a PhD, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You have to take it 1 year at a time, 1 day at a time.
Yes.
But it was a really great experience for me because it allowed me to do a couple of things at once. One, it was... Our PhD program is divided into 2 strands. So there's a media studies strand and then there's a audiovisual arts strand. And together it's audiovisual arts and media studies is the name of the PhD, which roughly for listeners, it basically means that you have one portion of the PhD is focused on creative practice, creating actual film audiovisual art or film or art or media art of some kind. And the other part is more focused on studying the effects of media, audiences, for example. One of my colleagues, Sten Kauber, just defended his PhD on Estonian audiences. And we're a kind of a big tent, as it were. And mine was on the creative practice side. So I was able to write and direct an interactive feature film called The Limits of Consent, which was premiered here in Black Nights Film Festival in 22 and went on to several other festivals. And basically the process of that was very innovative for me because it, unlike my master's degree, which was more about studying critical theory and analyzing some films and kind of more of a film studies background, this was actually you make the film and then you generate the knowledge through the process of the production itself. So then you look back on what you've done and why you've done it and understand, bring new knowledge through that process. And that was a very rewarding thing in a couple of senses, in the sense that at the end of it, I had a PhD, and at the end of it, I also had a film that had been, by my estimation, quite successful. So
That's great.
It was a win-win situation.
Wow, that's kudos, I think so.
Yeah. And what's interesting to me is that you have been doing your PhD at a time where so much evolution has happened to the film industry, right? And I'm talking about the technology, the equipment, there's the social media, and then now there's AI. Can you talk around that, and how did you experience that evolution? How did you adapt to it? And the industry, how did it adapt to it from your perspective?
It wasn't such a big factor for me, to be honest, the technological aspect of it. Only so much as the cameras have changed or they've improved since I previously made a film, because previously to get a high quality image you needed to use Super 16 film or 35mm film, which is very expensive and very difficult to process and costly. And so I was impressed how the digital camera technology had improved so much that you have these 4K cameras and now 6K or 8K cameras, which are spectacularly high quality for a cinema exhibition, and you can film much more material without worrying all the time. When you shot a film on film on 16mm Super 16, I filmed one of my feature films on, and you feel like money is going, like you hit record and money because it costs so much to develop it, whereas this was wasn't a problem. We had our biggest issue was COVID at the time, but it was actually a huge advantage finally, because the film was largely set in Tallinn airport, and we were able to film in the airport because there were no flights going.
Wow.
So that was a big advantage.
Nice.
Regarding AI,
has it affected you in any way, your projects, the industry at large?
It hasn't affected me personally, not yet. I see that it is something that the experts believe is going to continue and grow, and it's not going to stop. And it's not something necessarily, our Professor Indrek Ibrus wrote recently, it's not something to be afraid of, but we need to also understand it, which I totally agree with. And it's not to feel threatened by these things. At the same time, I'm probably on the other side of the coin in the sense that I'm advocating for analog practices a lot. And I believe that in the same way as when we create a machine to do something that we used to do ourselves, then we lose something of ourselves in that process. I'm not a Luddite. I'm not so old-fashioned, but I also believe that there's room for both of these things, for the advanced technology and for the kind of preservation of these older means of production or knowledge creation or whatever you might have of it. For me, AI is a huge time saver when it comes to things where my voice is not necessary.
Okay.
So like reports,
Yes.
for example, this kind of thing. But I would never, use it for writing an academic article or a creative thing, because it's taking something away from me, actually.
Yes. It kills your thinking process about actually what you want to say. That's what I feel it. But as you mentioned, yes, using AI to some extent to do certain things which are tedious job can help or make your life quite easy. But what is interesting is I have seen that your journey from master student to PhD student, lecturer, how Estonia has helped you build up your career over here.
How has it helped?
Yeah.
It gave me all the opportunities. I mean, simple as that. I was able to do that master's program because it was inexpensive, as I've said. I was able to do a PhD program and was accepted onto it. I think part of it comes down to a sense of, if you are hardworking and talented and have some reliability, then you can do well in Estonia, basically. Because the reputation is passed very, very easily. Reputation transmission is very high. Reputational damage is also very high. And there's nowhere to go if you damage yourself. I was recently in Australia, and one of my colleagues in Australia said that in Australian context, everyone who fails in Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane, they go to Darwin.
Okay.
You go to Darwin. Darwin is a city full of people on their second chance. But we don't have that city in Estonia, so you have to be careful here. But it means, I think it means that the network is much easier to grow from the UK context, which of course is a country of nearly 70 million people. It's you're a small cog in a big machine, one voice in a huge crowd, and it's much easier to make yourself visible here and to build connections because the community is much
Yes.
in that way.
Yes, that's true. But quite interesting, as you mentioned, your journey from MBA, PhD, and then education and building up your career. But have you ever faced any challenges during this journey?
Yes. I guess, I mean, I don't know. Challenges would of course be unsuccessful applications, on not getting the funding when you want it or you need it. I'm in the middle of making a film at the moment, and I'm struggling to get the money to finish it because it's mostly done, but I need some finance. But there are avenues for getting that finance, and you just need to be persistent and try again and hopefully find a way through. I often tell my students that rejection is good because it means you've done something. You know?
Yes.
If you show me someone who hasn't been rejected, I'll show you someone who hasn't done anything. So so there is rejection. Of course, it's not just that every door is opening for you endlessly. There is competition, and there is stiff competition. In fact, there's a lot of talent here. But I think the opportunity to get this kind of resource is much higher.
What would make Estonia a good, let's say, playground or a good career start for somebody who, let's say, is listening to this podcast right now who wants to study film or media? Would you say Estonia is a good place to get started, both in an academic path or in a path in academia and a path in the industry?
Both, to the extent that, yes, you can still study film and film production, media, in Estonia at BFM in a relatively cost-effective way,
Yes.
Which is very useful. And then, so what was the second part of the question?
Is it a good place as well for both academia and industry, or would you say it's just one or the other?
I think it's both, but there are challenges, of course, transitioning from studying in Estonia to the Estonian film industry.
Yes.
The main one, of course, being the language at the moment. However, there are a greater and greater number of international productions.
It's growing.
In Estonia. So I know several of our students worked on a British TV series that filmed here last summer, I believe, which was mostly crewed by the UK crew, unfortunately, but they did allow a lot of Estonian crew members to work on that production. Of course, it will have been in English language production. But yeah, generally I advise students who have come from countries where the political situation is not so stable and they've voiced an interest in like building a life in Estonia. I tell them first thing, just learn Estonian. Go and learn Estonian because, you know, if you can speak enough Estonian to get by on the set, then you might still be able to get a good job. I know one Turkish cameraman who works for ERR, for example, and he speaks Estonian very well. So, I mean, it's doable. You just have to learn the language.
Learn the language. I agree with you. I always say that it is better to communicate in the local language, and people should, once you have decided to shift to a country, you should adapt to the language. Of course, it is difficult, but then it's not impossible. But, you know, coming out of the topic of academic and everything, so we just finished up Christmas. And Estonia was ranked as one of the beautiful Christmas to visit, Tallinn Christmas market. So did you visit it, and what do you like best about the Christmas market?
Tallinn Christmas market. I walked through it on my way to a restaurant. Yeah, I mean, it is beautiful. Unfortunately, we had a black Christmas this year. We missed it the first half, wasn't it? Yeah, the snow came before New Year's, but yeah, that's usually... But most often it's a white Christmas here. So that's always wonderful and a relief after the dark nights in the autumn. And then the Christmas market, yeah, I can't say I've been to the Christmas market for a long time.
Oh, okay.
But what is your favorite season in Estonia then?
Oh, I love all the seasons. I love the fact that there are seasons. From the UK, again, we have two seasons. We have spring and autumn. That's it. And like 1 week of summer and not even a real winter, but here there are real seasons usually. So that's great. Although this year has been particularly wet.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's a great thing that Estonians and Brits have in common. We love to complain about the weather.
We have now learned to do that too. We've become very much Estonians.
But my experience for the Christmas market, of course, the weather has been wet, but I saw too many tourists during this time at Christmas market, and I don't know, suddenly it was overcrowded.
Oh, really?
And I don't know, suddenly I think everybody was visiting Estonia.
Overcrowded Estonia.
Yes, I was roaming at the Christmas market. I was trying the food and everything, and I think I hardly saw any Estonian. It was maximum tourists who were visiting the market, or maybe I came across to the tables where maximum tourists were there.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign, I think. So
yeah, we're coming to a point where Estonia is not an underrated or hidden gem.
Yeah. It is a gem to be found out very soon, which is going to be like, for the people who have not found it yet, I think it is something which needs to shine it up. But on coming down to the end of the note, I have something very beautifully that you have quoted it. And I wanted to ask you once said that if you were a bottle of whiskey, you will be immensely drinkable by now. Mm-hmm. After that journey, how does the whiskey taste today to you?
Fabulous. It tastes great. Yes.
But that's great, because I was just reading your quote and I was like, wow, it is so true that over the period of time, the whiskey tastes, more better and better. Mm-hmm. I think that is what Estonia gives us. Like once you come, like for my journey, it was 4 years back, and now I have aged fine. And I think it is going to be more tastier and more good. And I think the whiskey is going to be more good once I stay more longer in Estonia, and the life will be more beautiful. Mm-hmm. So on that note, will you like to add something for our viewer for the thanking note?
Well, yeah, I guess in regard to that Estonia is a very welcoming country. It has given me personally a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like I have any resentment towards Estonia at all, in terms of I always keep in mind the opportunities that I've had and the kind of path that I've been able to make for myself here. And if I try to do the imaginative leap and think about what that would have been like in the UK, it doesn't exist. It doesn't happen the way it happened here. So for that, I'm always grateful to Estonia and the opportunities that it's given me. And I think it's, like I said, it's a great place. And if you can survive the weather, then it's the place for you, I think. I think the first years here in winter, it was kind of like a novelty. Everything was like, wow, snow, it's fun. And then after some time, you understand that actually it's not the depth of the winter. The minus 20 I can handle. I walked in it today. My rosy cheek. But it's the length of the winter. Yes. It's the first week of May. There's still no flowers. Come on, I've had enough. But the good thing about that is, at the other side, there's always huge bloom and green trees and wonderful summer waiting for you at the end of it.
I love that. When pitching Estonia, we're always like, but weather aside, Estonia is this, and that. It's funny that way. But what is one piece of advice then would you give to someone, probably a potential student, who's deciding whether Estonia is the right choice for their studies or career?
Give him a bit of advice. Stop thinking and come.
Wow, that
love that. Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. So stop thinking and come soon. But thanks a lot, Michael, for it was great to have you over here, and it was great insight that you have shared with us. And for all the viewers, please follow us through various channels. We are there on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. And if you have any question with regard to how is the student life in Estonia, please ask us. And thank you once again. And thank you, Emily. Thank you. And
thank you,
have a fantastic day.
Both of you for having me. It's been great.
Thank you.